is a product of policy because it takes policy to push subsidies. In the same way, the president said subsidy is gone. And what were the resultant effects? The price in petrol shot up. The price in food shot up. The price in rent, everything. There were many concomitant effects of that. Why? Because policy shapes living standards. Policy shapes economies. Policy shapes choices. Subsidy was removed. The petrol subsidy, that is. You definitely know that. Families had to maybe cut down on some luxury goods. Maybe they used to have, bread and jam. They have cut it down to bread and butter. Maybe they used to cook their moi moi with egg inside. Now they just cook the moi moi plain like that. So you can see how that subsidy, the removal of subsidy or the change in that policy has now weaved into or affected different parts of lives of the citizen, from household choices to corporate choices, and the list goes on. So I'm saying that to say that policy counts. Everybody would benefit. Everybody would be beaten or blessed by the ripple effects and the domino effects of policy as a general. Purpose for entering into a space should not be money or financial gratification. That's where a lot of Nigerian young people miss it.
So many.
Yes. There's a missing link between involvement and passion. Your involvement should be predicated to an extent, and a large extent I must say, on your passion, such that even if it doesn't pay you, you are satisfied in having poured your best bits into that space, into that sector, into that industry, and in this case, into that strand of policy that you are giving, your stretched arm. And you can be very constructive in your writing without insulting anybody in power. Well, I'm not saying sometimes you can't lash out, because sometimes many wrong things are done by those people. So I'm not saying, have your mouth be hid, but be very constructive in the things you are putting out there. And keep hammering on these things. Keep hammering on these things very, very strongly, right? So that way you see that you begin to call the attention of the people within power spaces. It's how that young people now derail. You see that maybe you are hitting it, calling out that the next thing that happens is maybe your governor or maybe even your local government chairman just says, I see you are very vocal on social media. I want you to be my PA or essay on media. You're like,
PA,
thank you, sir. And then you take that position and you forget your initial struggle. And sometimes the position is not given because you have given in order to buy your voice. Exactly. So you lose your policy pursuit. So the policy guy must really have his policy drive clearly cut in his head. You go for youth dialogue on social and so on, you see more old people than young people, because largely we are docile, we don't care. We are armchair critics who write on social media, but we don't show up in the rooms where these decisions are made. So showing up matters. You have to show up where these meetings are held, where all of these things are done bit by bit. Then you have to locally engage. That's a big part. If you are talking about education policies on social media and shouting about how Nigeria, Kano is the single city in all of sub-Saharan Africa, in the single city in all of Africa with the largest out of school children and all of that, and your own community, you have not started to take a move, 1-2 small moves to get out of school children to become schooled again, then you are lying to yourself. It was Mother Teresa that said, before you talk about world peace, go home and make peace.
And these policies don't just come into the head of the policymaker just like that. Someone must have pushed for it. Someone must have sacrificed to get it on the table where it was deliberated upon and subsequently accepted.
True.
So when we have the mayhem of everyone leaving, or everyone just behaving like I don't care, or like in a Nigeria scenario now, making a joke out of everything, there is no way we'll be so focused enough to get ourselves into that space, because we are not even really interested. The majority are not really interested, though they say that they are, but in reality they are not.
You can make yourself valuable by starting at the point where you are. And I'll still hinge on access. Attend meetings, attend town halls, attend every such opening that touches on that thing that you are engaged with. Because it takes small things to make your name ring in big places. Small things, tiny steps. Because a child did not walk into walking. The child learned to sit. I have a young child. I have a 5-month-old. All he knew was sleeping on his back. Before you know, we started practicing tummy time. So he will sit on his tummy, and before you know, he just falls back down. But now he's learned to hold his head and chest up. And now he's learning to sit. Before you know, Baba will start to crawl. Before you know, Baba will start to walk. Before you know, Baba will be running, and this will be me come saying, stop son, don't. Do you understand? So it takes one step to birth another step. So you must get involved in small levels and go to big levels. If they don't see, it's just the way we have many Nigerians that thought they wanted to change politics and just came back from living in London for 20 years and wanted to contest, political seat and thought they were going to get it. It doesn't work that way. Trump was in business for many years. Then then he just contested and won. Donald Trump was a card-carrying, dues-paying, strong Republican for more than 30 years before he contested election. Biden had been in the Congress for more than 2 decades before he ran for presidency. So you must be involved at smaller levels before you can shoot into the big spaces. But the day you get one view that will cause you to be viewed, people will go back to the very first post you started making. You don't have to experience through your experience. You can experience through the experience of people that experienced their experiences before you. Right? And that's the advantage of mentors. So you leverage on the experience of mentors, and then you journey even easier. My friend said, every generalization is false. And so I think that generalization is false, that lawyers have more advantage as against every other person in the policy space. It is easier, it's how that law arms a man and the man becomes very daring, right? So that's the advantages of the lawyer are first, that the lawyer has transferable skills. He can easily transfer the skills he has been readily prepped up with into, the policy space. His skills in research, in analysis, in drafting, advocacy. But here's the good news. Anybody can do these things. So for non-lawyers, you have to, like I said earlier, translate passion into policy language. And this is where network comes in. I advise every non-lawyer that wants to enter into policy, into legislation, into any such thing, to begin to befriend lawyers. Begin to befriend lawyers. It's wise. It's the wise thing to do. One of the things that will sell you out in the policy space is how much knowledge you have. Then you must now leverage, digital platforms, and don't stop speaking. If you're a policy person and you're starting your policy thing out on Twitter, just get ready to be fast. Yes. Twitter is a gathering of bad-mouthed people, right? So get ready, get prepared. Just put on a shell like a snail. When it's raining, you just roll right into your shell. When it's done raining, you come out and you keep walking, right? So at the end of the day, you must now consciously start putting what you do out there and start doing things for real. You don't need big money to take small steps. I told you can belong to the recycling organization in Abuja, and then all you are doing is you can just decide in your compound, let everybody know every bottle you use, I better not throw away for dustbin. Keep a basket near your gate. Everybody put your bottles. At the end of the day, maybe at the end of the month, you put them in the trunk of your car, or however, you take and you supply to the recycling body that you are a part of. You see that way, you're already showing how that you are interested in this recycling thing, you're interested in this climate change thing. You're not just saying it with mouth, you are taking an actual step in the regard. And then one day you can make a video, show people the process of your collection, how you collect
Action.
your bottles, how you give your bottle to the recycling, structure around. Do things that weave around what you are doing. Do small projects with your heart, not just with make I do and make they see me. No. One of the things that will sell you out in the policy space is how much knowledge you have. Then you must now leverage, digital platforms, and don't stop speaking. If you're a policy person and you're starting your policy thing out on Twitter, just get ready to be bashed.
Yes.
Twitter is a gathering of bad-mouthed people, right? So get ready, get prepared. Just put on a shell like a snail. When it's raining, you just roll right into your shell. When it's done raining, you come out and you keep walking, right? So at the end of the day, you must now consciously start putting what you do out there and start doing things for real. You don't need big money to take small steps. I told you can belong to the recycling organization in Abuja, and then all you are doing is you can just decide in your compound, let everybody know every bottle you use, I better not throw it for dustbin. Keep a basket near your gate. Everybody put your bottles. At the end of the day, maybe at the end of the month, you put them in the trunk of your car, or however, you take and you supply to the recycling body that you are a part of. You see that way, you're already showing how that you are interested in this recycling thing, you're interested in this climate change thing. You're not just saying it with mouth, you are taking an actual step in the regard. And then one day you can make a video, show people the process of your collection, how you collect your bottles, how you give your bottle to the recycling, structure around. Do things that weave around what you are doing. Do small projects with your heart, not just with make I do and make they see me. No. Passion and purpose must marry.
What skills do you think people that want to go into this policy space should possess?
All right, I'll just say that very quickly because I touched a bit on that. You must have transferable skills that you bring in. For example, research. Because every policy, the reason you are bringing the policy to place is because research has shown that. Something has shown that. And you can do small researches in your small community. You can do empirical researches. Do a survey form, anonymized survey form, share for people to, I had a friend one time that was doing a survey and he told me market women were refusing to fill the survey. And what did he do? He just had to go to a section of the market and tell them, mommy, I beg, I have this survey. I'm doing this kind of thing. I beg, do the survey. I'll give you 1,000 naira for pure water. And that's how he just gave a few people 1K like that. Because, because they didn't understand the idea behind it, but when they saw money, they got involved. So you do your, get up in your research. This thing, there is no policy you are putting forward that you don't need thorough research, thorough statistics, and your statistics will not be one of them. Say you have to run some small kinds of empirical research within. Good one, you don't even have to go physically to have forms. You can just create an e-form and share it. And people get the e-form filled and you have your data sourced to run what you have to do. So research skill is a very big thing. Then your analysis must be frontline. Good one, we now have some digital structures that you just feed your data in and they help run the analysis. But that will also mean that you have to be very familiar with the use of digital tools to aid your work as a policy person. Then you must have very great interpersonal skills. Very, very great interpersonal skills, because it takes good relationships, very good relationships too. And one of the skills I think you have to have, if we would call it a skill, is resilience. Never say die. Never say die. Because you may not make the impact you want on your first strike. But with continuity, you'll get loud.
Really try to mention some of the challenges people would face when they want to go into this policy space. They've mentioned the fact that a lot of people will bash you. So could you also elaborate on that before we leave today?
All right. So for young professionals, A lot of times people think you're inexperienced. But you see, don't be afraid of your inexperience. Just go and just try. You see, it is continuity that grants you the experience, that gives you the experience, that makes that you're now strong-footed in that regard.